and welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon, and today we have a bit of a different type of a video. If you are after a cooking video, today is not going to be cooking, so just tune in on Friday for a normal video. I did a live stream a few weeks ago where we talked about being a YouTuber, how much YouTubers get paid, all that sort of thing, and people had so many more questions and there were so many more things I wanted to show you, but we had technical difficulties, so we ended up doing it walking around the lake rather than on my computer, and had things on my computer that I wanted to show you. So I thought what we'll do is we'll do a quick recap of the stuff I've already covered, and then we'll answer a whole heap of other questions that came up that I didn't get a chance to answer or explain. So there'll be a little bit of content we covered before plus some new stuff in there. So if you're thinking of being a YouTuber, I was fascinated by an article I saw recently by the UK Mail, which said, forget being a doctor or a nurse, 3/4 of today's children would rather be YouTubers or vloggers, which I thought was pretty amazing that many people would consider that that's what they want to do as their career, which I guess for me is a bit like a lot of people in the olden days might say, I want to be a singer or I want to be a movie star, because they see that as like a glamorous lifestyle, but it seems so much more accessible because anybody can. There's no one there saying, no, you can't try this. But I think the success rate is probably similar in terms of the number of people who make it their career. Maybe a few more, maybe not, but I thought I'd give you a few answers to questions so that then you can actually think about, is that actually what I want to do as a career? Or if you have another career, do you want to swap like I did and do this? When I started, you couldn't just monetize your videos. I didn't even know you could monetize your videos. I didn't even know what a YouTube channel was. I started a website to write down all my recipes that people were asking me for, and then from there I made a few videos, put them on my website, but they were too big. So I loaded them to YouTube to basically store them there so that I could have them on my website. And to cut a long story short, YouTube sent me an email saying, do you want to monetize your videos? I kept ignoring them, going, it's not going to make any money. And then one day I went, oh, okay, then I'll just fill out the form so that you stop contacting me. And then realized it was bringing in a tiny amount of money. But I thought, well, I had the year off while my youngest was born, when Jed was little, when he was tiny, and I was doing my website at night because he was very sick and he needed night feeds all the way through that first year pretty much. So while I was feeding him, he'd be sleepy and I would be sleepy, but typing on my computer in order to keep myself awake because I was worried I was going to drop him. Any mum who has done 7 months straight of 3-hourly feeds will know my pain. I was barely awake, but that's how the website came about and came to be. And so I do sort of occasional videos, do quite a few videos over that first year. So that's kind of how I got started. I didn't go, oh, can I make money on YouTube? Because I didn't even know that anyone could make money on YouTube. I don't think there were many people making a career out of YouTube back then. But now it's completely different. Now a lot of people starting a channel are starting it with the intention of doing it as a job. And so they want more answers to questions, and rightly so. If that's what you're thinking of doing, you want to know, is this a viable option? Is this going to work for me? Okay, so we'll jump right into the first question most people wanted to know was, how do you get paid as a YouTuber? Okay, well, basically when you watch a YouTube video, there is an advert that plays before the video. Not always, and that's important, but sometimes there is an advert that plays before the video. If the person watches more than a certain percentage of that, so it's usually about 30 seconds of that advert, then the YouTuber or the person who created that video will get paid. But they don't get paid the whole amount that the brand pays, they get a proportion. So YouTube will keep 45% and the YouTuber will get 55% of what the person paid for that advert. And then the next question then is, well, how much do people pay for those adverts? And the ads are usually sold on a per 1,000 views basis. So not per one view, per 1,000 video views. And then how much they actually pay is different to how much we actually get. And there are so many variables there. So I'll quickly run through the difference there, because I've read so many articles where journalists will go and look at how much people are paying per 1,000 views on Google AdSense, and they'll go, this is how much YouTubers are getting paid, and they just multiply that out by the number of views, and you go, no, that's completely incorrect. It's completely wrong. So I'll give you the reasons why. So one of them is not all videos are eligible for monetization. So this changed to be even more stricter more recently. So YouTube has always had, I'll pull that up and show you, the YouTuber advertiser friendly content guidelines. If it's not eligible for advertising, it means they just won't run ads against it. So it's got things here like controversial issues and sensitive events, drugs and dangerous products and substances, harmful or dangerous acts, hateful content, inappropriate language, inappropriate use of family entertainment characters, demeaning video content, sexually suggestive content, and violence. So all of those things there, they give a little bit more of a definition. This is nothing new. These guidelines have been around for a long time. If you go back and have a look at the website previously, you can use Wayback Machine and look at a website from a year ago. Those guidelines were always there. They've just been put there in a lot more detail, and the hate speech element of it has been added. Those ones weren't there. They weren't really an issue back when it was first set up. So if your videos mainly focus on those things, then they're likely to be demonetized, or that just means there won't be any ads playing against them, so you can't make any money on them. So it's not so much that YouTube is saying we won't do it, it's brands saying we don't want to advertise against that content. And so you can still create whatever videos you want, but you can't force brands to advertise against it. Okay, so that's one thing, is whether your videos are eligible for monetization. Do they meet those requirements or not that we've just read through? The other thing that affected was there's a new rule saying that you have to have 10,000 channel views before you can monetize your channel. If your channel already existed, you're exempt from that, you're fine. But if you're starting a new channel today, you must have 10,000 channel views, and then you can apply to have your channel monetized, and someone will actually check the channel to make sure that it is meeting those guidelines and it's advertiser friendly, and then they'll tick yes, you can monetize it. So you can still make a non-advertiser friendly channel, you just can't do that and expect brands to advertise against it, if that makes sense. The other thing that can affect how much money you make is copyright. If you're using someone else's video footage, so if you download my videos and re-upload them, they'll probably just be blocked automatically by YouTube. But if one did get through, you wouldn't be able to monetize that content because that content doesn't belong to you. The same thing happens with music. So say right now in the background, I played a song from a famous musician while I was talking to you. That then would mean that would be picked up by the automatic thing in YouTube. When you upload it, it scans the content for copyrighted material. And then every dollar from every view, from every advert on this video, if I had that music, would go to the musician and not to me. So you have to make sure you don't use copyrighted material, because then the whole video can be claimed by someone else saying you're using their copyrighted stuff. So music's probably the biggest one for that. If you're wanting to start a music channel, like you wanted to do covers and all that, that's a lot more complicated now. There's like a shared revenue model going on for covers, but you have to apply for all that. And obviously I don't do covers, so I'm not up to date with everything on that, but look into that one for yourself. Parodies come under a different thing again because they're quite different. You're kind of rewriting it. But covers, I think, are under shared amount. But if you're just straight using the other person's music as is, expect it to be monetized by them. So there are sites you can go to where you pay for songs by the song, and you can use them in the background of your video, or there's a YouTube audio library which has music and sounds that you can use for free on YouTube, and you won't be picked up for monetization issues with those. So that's copyright. And then the other issue is the percentage of video views that are monetized versus not monetized. So let's say you had 1,000 video views on your channel. Well done, quite an achievement. You have 1,000 views on your channel for the month. I can guarantee you they will not all be monetized views. The reason for that is because, one, YouTube doesn't play adverts against every single video you watch, because then no one would come to YouTube. They'd get sick of it and they would click off. So they kind of check people's tolerance for ads, and they maybe play one every second or every third video they'll play an ad. Sometimes I reckon I get one every single time, but it depends on the person. So they don't play it against every video. And then two, if they start playing an ad and the person skips it, then you don't get paid. That's not a monetized view. So if the ad plays for 2 seconds or the 5 seconds and they click skip, they don't watch any more of the ad, you're not getting paid for that view. And that is a huge difference. So more than half of our views are not monetized because of that factor, because there isn't ads on every video and because people skip ads. Now, someone asked last time about YouTube Red. I can't remember what name that was, but how does it work with YouTube Red then? So YouTube Red is a subscription service and there are no ads. The way YouTube Red works is, let's say you and me have one video each and that's the entire videos on YouTube. There are no more videos, it's just ours. Let's say they click onto YouTube Red, they've paid for their subscription and they watch my video once and they watched your video once. My video goes for 10 minutes and your video goes for 5 minutes. Then YouTube would still take its portion, it's 45% of the subscription, and then the 55% would be split between us according to watch time. So because they watched 10 minutes of mine and 5 minutes of yours, I would get 2/3 of the 45% and you would get 1/3. So it's a bit more complicated than just looking at how it worked before. Obviously that would then favor, who do you think would get the most views on YouTube Red? I would imagine that would be musicians, Vivo channels, because people just play music and leave it on in the background. So most of the time, and that would go from YouTube Red, would go to that sort of thing, and also to YouTube Red, actually originals owned by YouTube that they just pump all the time if you're on YouTube Red, because it's in their advantage because they own them. So YouTube Red is kind of I'm not sure whether it's making us more or less money per view. I'd have to look into that, but we're not getting a large amount of our revenue from YouTube Red. It's more from the ads. That was a good question though. Lena wanted to know, how can I actually get ads on my videos? Once you've got those 10,000 views, then you can go into the back end on your channel and you can apply for monetization. And once you've been approved, you need to set up an AdSense account and link that to your account so that you can then actually get paid. So you can do that. Awesome. Okay. Is that all good so far? You understand that? Give me the thumbs up if that's all making sense. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, good question. So then how much do you actually get paid? That is a very good question. So the amount, if you take into that all of those things, so basically it can go from 0 if none of your videos are eligible for monetization, all the way up to if they're all eligible for monetization, but lots of them get skipped. One more thing that affects how much the CPM is what country your views are in. So if all your views are in America, then you're going to get paid a lot more per 1,000 views than if all your views are in India. And that's just due to how much the advertisers in those countries are paying to advertise to the people in those countries. So American brands are paying more to advertise to Americans than Indian brands are paying to advertise to people in India. So it just depends on the country that your views are in. For me, my countries are worldwide. I have subscribers everywhere, which I love. So it's all just a mishmash mixture of people everywhere, and the CPMs are different for every country. Basically it can range from 0 up to about $1.70 per 1,000 views on a channel. That would be about the most I've heard people getting paid. So then you can calculate that out. So basically you also then have to take off the cost of what it cost the person to produce videos, because of course that's just how much money you're getting paid. That doesn't include how much it cost you to produce that video. So if I go over to, let me have a look. Let's just go to YouTube Analytics. Let me bring that one across for you. Okay, so this is YouTube Analytics. This is my YouTube channel for the first year. So April 16, 2011, I started all the way back then, through to April 16, 2012. So you can see when I very first started, we've got 93 views for the first month. Woohoo! I didn't mind. And then 353 for the next. I was super excited. Like, to me, that's 353 people is a lot of people. So if you're just starting and you're going, oh gosh, it's only 300 people, consider what that looks like in real people standing in front of you. That's huge. Don't get discouraged by small numbers to start with. So over the whole year, it then started to grow fairly quickly over here. We had a big up. So if you look up here, it tells you the views for the whole of that time period. So over the whole year, that first year, we had 316,000 views there. So if we go back from there, I will take you over to a calculator because I don't want to work it out in my head. So if we had 316,000 views, I should actually take you to the calculator, shouldn't I? So you can see it. There we go, calculating together. So 316,000 views. So to calculate it, you would then divide that by 1,000 because you don't get paid per view. Remember, you get paid per 1,000 views, and press equals. And then we are going to times that by, I don't know what monetization was back then because that was a long time ago, but let's just make it $1.40 just so that we can give it a number, and then go equals. So that means for an entire first 12 months of uploads, a whopping $442. Now, I know in that first year I made 25 videos. So if you go, okay, $442 for 25 videos is not a lot of money. Fortunately, I was actually on maternity leave for the year, so that wasn't a big deal. And I wasn't doing YouTube to make money, as I told you before. I was doing it as a hobby and something to keep my mind active during those night feeds. But you also have to deduct off there the cost of making the videos. I was just filming on the phone I had. I didn't buy any equipment. I was just using my phone, which at the time wasn't HD, which is why if you look back at the first ones, they're not good. The sound quality especially is bad, all of that stuff. But I also had to pay for the ingredients for each of those. So ingredients times 25 videos probably cost around $400. So I probably made about $40 profit in 12 months, which you go, that's a whole year's work and you didn't get paid. So I think you have to consider that with a lot of YouTubers. If you actually could go back and look at their first year, some of them their first 2 years, they're hardly getting paid anything at all. So you can go, oh wow, they're getting paid a lot now, but divide that out over the years where they didn't get paid at all, then that then brings it back down to a bit more of a normal wage. Unless they go absolutely crazy huge like PewDiePie, and then you go, okay, well, he's just getting paid a lot. But there's not many creators who are that big, which is the exception to it. So think about it for yourself. Can you afford to take a year of producing content with not necessarily getting any income from it? If you can do that, like I had the year off on maternity leave, then by all means give it a go. See how you go. You never know, it might start to take off. But there's no guarantees. You don't know if your channel is going to take off or not. You just have to do your absolute best with what you've got and then slowly improve over time. So it's taken, now I've got a proper camera, I've got a proper setup that I use when I'm filming, I've got lights. I didn't have any of that when I started, and I've just had to learn as I went, read the comments. And so many people helped along the way because they said things like, the sound is terrible and I can't hear you. And so that made me look into sound and look into how I could fix that problem and then just keep going from there, basically. I'm just trying to see if there's any more questions there for you. Oh, Paul says, yeah, okay, that's a good question. Paul says, what if I am, back to copyright, what if I am I'm filming outside somewhere and then a song is playing in the background that's a copyrighted song? If you do that, it may still get picked up. It just depends how clear the song is. If you can clearly hear it and you can hear the words, then yes, it's likely to get picked up. So when we were on the cruise, we filmed on a cruise ship. We filmed the family eating the dessert that I would then film being made in the cruise kitchen. What we did is we filmed that at a time that wasn't actually dinner service time in the restaurant on the cruise, and we had the music switched off, and we then filmed the scene, and then when I was editing I added in music that I had approval to be able to use in the background. So the reason we had the music switched off obviously in the dining room on the cruise was you can't edit out the music with your talking. Well, you can, but your talking is going to sound a bit weird. It's very hard to do. So if you actually just can go somewhere without music and then add the music in later, that makes life a lot easier, but I know that's not always possible. Okay, so hopefully that has helped you understand about monetization on YouTube. If you have an idea for a channel, by all means give it a go. You need to be consistent. You need to upload regularly at the same time every week, and it's a long haul. It's like running a marathon, not a sprint. So don't think, oh, well, I've done it for 3 weeks or a month or 2 months and I'm still not seeing views. I wasn't seeing views. You've got to be doing it for the fun of doing it and because you're enjoying it, and just enjoy while it's little and while you can still answer every comment. Like now it's so big, I can read the comments, but I can't possibly answer every comment because then I wouldn't be able to create anymore. So enjoy the littleness of it. And then if you're one of the lucky ones and your channel takes off and grows, and I pray that you're blessed enough that it does, then you can enjoy the nuances of having a bigger channel as well. So I hope that answers all your questions. If you have any other questions about being a YouTuber, there was one more thing I was going to show you, which I think is very useful for you, is if you go to this website, which is the YouTube Creator Academy. This whole website is designed for people that want to be a YouTuber. So if you click on all here, then you can see the courses that they have: live streaming on YouTube, 360, getting started, unlock your gaming channel, measuring success, so explaining YouTube analytics there, making money with YouTube. All of these different courses that you can do will help you, like production skills, production techniques. They will all help you in building a YouTube channel and learning. Basically, these are all based on things that other YouTubers that have gone before you have found. So it's based on what YouTube has discovered by looking at other YouTubers' channels that have worked, and then they've gone, okay, what works about that? With that as well, you can also go to the YouTube Creator Academy channel with heaps of videos there that you can watch, and a lot of them are interviews with other YouTubers. Some of them are by people who work for YouTube, and then other ones are by actual YouTubers. So there's heaps of resources out there for you. Hope that helps, and all the best with your channels. Make it a great week, and I'll see you on Friday.